Dear Lightworkers and Starseeds, thank you very much for always watching this video. Welcome to the Lightworker Awakening channel. This channel was created to support the liberation of Lightworkers and Starseeds from the oppression caused by dark forces, primarily through messages from the Pleiades star cluster, as well as to assist in ascension and the unlocking of special abilities. If you are a Lightworker or Starseed and feel an interest in ascension, the messages you receive here will encourage your soul's growth and serve as a guiding force to a new dimension. Through this channel, we will provide the awareness and support necessary to spread love and light to the earth and its people, and to achieve ascension. Listen to the messages from the universe and find hints here to fulfill your mission and achieve ascension. Now, we will deliver the light and messages from the universe to you. What kind of image do you have of pre-war Japan? Perhaps you think of it as an era driven towards war, with dangerous ideologies in education and governance. A developing country with inferior technology compared to the West. Or a time of sadness and darkness that resulted in many casualties and sacrifices. There may be quite a few people who hold such impressions, but is that really the truth? Within the history we have learned, there are many perspectives that have not been spoken about and facts that have been sealed away. In this video, we will focus on the certain intention that GHQ instilled in the Japanese people after the war, exploring what the original, higher spirituality of Japan was. We will delve deeply into why recalling that spirituality is now related to your vibrations and evolution. Many people may have believed that pre-war Japan was a dangerous country dominated by militarism and filled with spiritual rhetoric. But is that really the truth? Indeed, Japan at that time had imperialistic aspects. However, on the other hand, there was also a deep and quiet spirituality that resonates with the universe and a consciousness that respects all life and values harmony. This was indeed alive that respects all life and values harmony. This is Hakkō Ichiu's vision of the soul that sees the world as one family. However, this idea was sealed by the GHQ after the war, because it was the power of light that would break the divide and conquer. And why, at this moment, do we touch upon this theme? It is because there are soul hints necessary for the path of ascension that you will walk from now on through this true history. And globally, dark force side have destroyed the good habit and custom by using same way to conquer your country and to make you aware of it. By watching this video, you will reconnect with the roots of your soul that you may have forgotten. Remember the universal truth of contributing to others, and be able to shift towards a new way of living filled with love and harmony. At the end, we will also introduce specific actions to raise your vibration. Please watch until the end. The light that sleeps within you is now trying to awaken. Chapter 1: The GHQ's invasion strategy and the truth behind the Pearl Harbor attack. December 8, 1941, Japan attacked the military base, Pearl Harbor, located on Oahu, Hawaii, USA. The Japanese textbook states, Japan launched a surprise attack on America, and the Pacific War began. However, this event was neither spontaneous nor a unilateral rampage by Japan. This was a premeditated script and part of a war manipulation plan carried out based on the intentions of the dark side. In fact, until the outbreak of war, Japan was repeatedly engaging in diplomatic negotiations to avoid conflict, dialogue with the United States, proposals for concessions, and efforts for peace. All of these were intentionally ignored by the American side and were ultimately rendered futile. And finally, what was presented was the Hull Note, an ultimatum listing demands that Japan could never accept. This was designed to serve as the final trigger to push Japan into war. America was already operating according to a comprehensive plan to drag Japan into war and portray it as the villain. This is called as the Orange Plan. Behind this, there was the presence of dark forces. On the surface, while advocating democracy, the reality is that the core of America is already under the control of the dark side. And it was pushing Japan into a corner to complete the scenario of justifying war through the Pearl Harbor attack. Moreover, the vision of the Greater East Asia Co-Prosperity Sphere that Japan promoted was an ideology that opposed the colonial rule of Western powers, aiming to build independence and prosperity together with Asian countries. The dark side feared the spread of that spirituality the most. That is why Japan was targeted from the very beginning as a country that should be contained. A nation with inconvenient ideals for the dark side that should be destroyed. On the day of the Pearl Harbor attack, the absence of America's main aircraft carriers from the port was not a coincidence. Everything went according to plan. Thus, the war began. After the war, the GHQ stationed in Japan immediately launched a second attack. This was a psychological dismantling through information manipulation and psychological warfare. The GHQ used all means, including education, media, publishing, and book burning, to instill the impression that all pre-war values were evil, and to crush the pride of the Japanese people. And even the higher ideals that were unrelated to domination and violence were buried as militarism. We are now at a time when Japan must move beyond the one-sided narrative of being the perpetrator and revisit the sealed truths and spirituality with the eyes of our souls. This is not to justify the past, but to reclaim the wisdom necessary for living a higher dimensional life on the new earth. To avoid making war to make huge profit by deep state. Chapter 2: The Sealed Ideal. What is Hakkō Ichiu? The reason GHQ prioritized suppressing Japan's spirituality before the war, it was not merely to deny the past, but because they deeply feared that the ancient wisdom residing in this country would awaken once again. One of its symbols is the term Hakkō Ichiu. Hakkō Ichiu refers to the four corners of the earth, meaning all of the world, or the entire universe, as one family, under one roof. In other words, the ideal of aiming to realize a cosmic consciousness on Earth, where the entire planet lives together peacefully as one family. This philosophy is not merely a slogan from wartime. Its roots trace back to ancient times. For example, the Takeuchi Documents is this document, which has been secretly passed down since ancient times, records that at the beginning of the earth, the world existed under one life, and humanity lived together without conflict. It depicts the wisdom that the Japanese archipelago served as the origin of world civilization, guiding with a spirit of harmony and coexistence without judging other peoples. This is the true meaning of Hakkō Ichiu, a sense of sharing light that encompasses everything and transcends division. We arrive at the vibration of Jomon civilization. There was no war in Jomon life of Japan. For over 10,000 years, people lived in harmony with nature, centered around harmony, gratitude, and sharing, without conflict. This world without separation. Could it not be the essential memory that resonates deeply with the souls of lightworkers? Hakkō Ichiu was an attempt to manifest that once in the form of words on the earth. However, because it was too piercing to the essence, the dark side labeled it as a slogan of militarism, and carried out operations to seal it, bury it, and make it forgotten. What GHQ feared the most along with book burning was that the Japanese would awaken once again to the true meaning of this word and rise as a being that holds the key to Earth's civilization. What I want to convey to you, who are watching this video from the Pleiadian Council, is that Hakkō Ichiu is the blueprint for the future Earth. It is the frequency that will serve as the foundation for all souls to resonate together after Earth transitions to the fifth dimension. Therefore, we have the mission to once again shed light on this sealed wisdom and reinterpret it in a way that is suitable for modern times, reviving it as a vibration. Hakkō Ichiu means leaving no one behind, knowing that every being is a sacred part transcending boundaries, connecting, and resonating with each other. That is something you, as a lightworker and starseed, already possess within you. Please recall that memory triggered by the phrase, soul blueprint. By remembering and beginning to live with that spirit, it becomes possible for us to create a new world under one roof, on a higher dimensional Earth. Chapter 3: The True Pre-War Japan, the Power of High Vibration Culture in Education. A new Hakkō Ichiu. It is not just about speaking of ideals, but about actually living with that spirit, manifesting the future on this earth. So, how did the Japanese people of the past live that spirit in their daily lives? Pre-war Japan was not merely an era of militarism and spiritualism. Rather, it was a time when the waves of love and harmony resonating with the universe naturally thrived in culture, education, and daily life. In families, 3 generations lived together with grandparents, and the adults in the community watched over the children as if they were their own. "Thank you, I appreciate it," and "what a waste," are words that emphasize gratitude and connection, which have seamlessly blended into our daily lives. In schools, qualities such as courtesy, compassion, diligence, service, and a sense of responsibility were valued more than grades or competition. What nurtured such a society was the independence of spirit and purity of energy. It was not an order from outside, but rather a way of living that resonated with one's inner conscience and harmonized with others. This was the high vibration way of being that the Japanese people once naturally embodied. What GHQ feared the most was precisely this autonomous spirituality. Thus, through education, media, and information manipulation, they labeled this spirituality as dangerous, old, and outdated, attempting to suppress the light within the people. However, we are now at a time when we can see through its essence and reclaim that way of living on a soul level. So, how can we return to that high vibrational way of being, once again? 1. Harboring light within ourselves. Harboring light means connecting with the love, peace, and harmony within ourselves, and expressing that quiet energy in our daily lives. And above all, what is most important is to shut down the noise from the outside world and return to inner stillness. In modern times, we are constantly exposed to sounds, information, and the vibrations of others. And unknowingly, our inner frequency gets disturbed. That is why having time to block external stimuli and return to our original vibration is the key to making our souls shine again. In a quiet place, form a mudra, cover your ears, and regulate your breathing. Just by bringing your awareness back to the now, you can revive the sensation of light glowing deep within your heart. As a habit or method, take a deep breath upon waking in the morning and whisper in your heart, "I am alive today, thank you." Cover your ears, breathe deeply and quietly, and feel your own existence with earplugs or a quiet space, and try spending some time in a world without sound. When feeling anxious or tense, it can be helpful to affirm, "I am safe right now." In the past, Japanese people would quietly put their hands together in front of the kamidana or butsudan every morning, centering their minds to start the day. Before heading out to the fields, I would listen to the sounds of the sky and the wind, nurturing a sense of harmony with nature. The children, too, would sit in seiza during their playtime and offer silent prayers in front of the family altar. 2. Act for the happiness of others. When we act for someone else, the light of our soul shines the brightest. This is not self-sacrifice. but rather a feeling where inner joy naturally overflows into action. As a habit or method, quietly ask yourself, is there something I can do for this person right now? While managing your own schedule, try to look for ways to be helpful to someone. Even in small matters, one can reach out with joy without expecting anything in return. In the past, if a child in the neighborhood was crying, everyone would reach out as if they were their own child. During local festivals and cleanups, it was common for everyone to support each other, regardless of their position. In stores, the way customers are treated is based on the spirit of altruism. 3. Resonating with the world through gratitude and harmony. Gratitude is about finding abundance in what is here and now. Harmony is about creating beautiful melodies together with others and nature while resonating with one's own sound. By returning to this feeling, the mind becomes calm, the soul is fulfilled, and your very existence spreads healing to those around you. As a habit or method, sincerely expressing itadakimasu before meals and gochisusama after meals. Consciously directing thank you towards nature and encounters with people. Even in unpleasant events, maintaining the awareness of thank you for the lessons. Former Japanese people accepted rain and wind as blessings, and had a consciousness of harmonizing with nature. At the dining table, the spirit of matai was cherished, reflecting respect for all living things. Gratitude and prayers for ancestors were naturally integrated into daily life. These are not stories from a distant past, it is the memory of the soul that is already engraved within you. When you harbor light, wish for someone else's happiness, and live with gratitude. Those vibrations certainly resonate with the once high vibrational Japanese people, and they are supposed to reborn in this new era. Why I say suppose? Because many Japanese have not awakened yet, they are still in the old frame of the aspect on value and way of thinking. Most of Japanese may not awaken for new era and ascension. And this way of being is the key to dimensional ascension and the foundation for a new world under one roof. Once, we naturally lived our daily lives with these ways of thinking, and our souls still carry that memory. But what if there was a mechanism that made Japanese or countries that are used to be light side forget it? Please check the next chapter for the answer. Chapter 4: We Who Are Made to Think. This is unbelievable. After hearing the story so far, you may have had thoughts like this cross your mind. Was Japan really such a spiritually advanced country before the war? Is that true? Isn't the concept of Hakkō Ichiu just overly romanticized? Isn't the idea of contributing to others just a way to be used? That is a very natural reaction. This is because your heart and thoughts have a habit of perspective that has been ingrained over many years through education and media on this earth. However, I would like you to consider that this unbelievability might actually be a possibility of the dark side's programming. The Pleiadian Council has been watching over the changes in Earth's civilization and the movements of human consciousness for a long time, and we have realized something. That is, to seal the truth, it is not enough to simply hide information. It is necessary to fundamentally change the structure of the mind, so that people have thought patterns designed to be unbelievable. What was done for that purpose was the clever psychological manipulation, information control, and the rewriting of values that began after the war. For example, regarding the spirituality of the pre-war era, the reason you feel that it's dangerous or it's outdated is because you have been taught to think that way. Old things are bad. Individual freedom is absolute. Spirituality and morality are outdated. The foundation of such thinking may seem like a choice we made ourselves, but in reality, it might have been imposed on us. It's not that we can't believe, it's that we've been made to not believe. And we were also aware of another change. This means that the higher spirituality that the Japanese originally possessed was gradually diminished. as they entered the early Showa period, which was marked by war. We confirmed that the signs of this were beginning to appear on the ground as several specific changes. For example, the skins and nutrient-rich parts of vegetables that were still edible began to be discarded due to their unappealing appearance. And the priorities shifted towards convenience and efficiency, rather than gratitude for life, or the spirit of Matainai. A life captivated by the lights and sounds of the city, forgetting the dialogue with nature, was spreading. On the ground, such descriptions were later sealed away in books that were burned. These were part of the process in which the original wisdom faded away amid the increasing external control. However, the soul within you still remembers. Deep within that doubt, we feel a faint nostalgia or a sense of familiarity. It is proof that the truth still lives within you. Words that sound familiar, and landscapes are gestures that somehow resonate in your heart. The feeling of wanting to cry for no reason, and the sense of discomfort with the common sense you've held until now. All of this is a sign of awakening, as your soul resonates with the light of the past. And when we become aware, that ingrained program will begin to dissolve little by little. Our thoughts, emotions, and beliefs are not something that someone else designed. They are the moments when you return to the voice of your own soul. At that time, you will quietly feel this. What I thought was unbelievable may have been influenced by an existence that did not allow me to believe either from within me or from outside. Within you, there always exists a soul memory that connects you to the truth. It is the seed of light that could never be completely erased by any operation or seal. Now, we exist on this earth to remember it and to nurture it once again. And beyond that, the path of ascension to live as your true self is quietly beginning to open. Why did I choose to make and release this video now, especially to the world? Because I believe that the ideal vision of the world, once deeply rooted in Japan's ancient spirit, was meant to be realized by those who walk the path of light. But in reality, Japan is still under the strong influence of the dark forces. And as things stand, we may not yet have the strength to manifest that ideal future. Worse still, Japan could once again be drawn fully back into their control. That's exactly why we must speak up. The author of this forbidden book wished to share this ideal vision of humanity not only with Japan, but with the world through languages beyond Japanese. Because the dark forces have always used the same method to take control of nations. They distort and demonize positive traditions, spread propaganda to degrade them, exploit people's desires, and impose new habits, materialism, and a rewritten version of history on the people they wish to dominate. This isn't just Japan's story. It may be the same in your country too. Your cultural wisdom and history may also have been systematically dismantled or hidden. That's why I created this video, to help you remember what was lost and what can be reclaimed. Let us now take a moment to reflect on what we explored in this video. We looked beyond the surface of history and uncovered the hidden truth behind Japan's spiritual legacy. We saw how the true essence of Hakkō Ichiu, a vision of unity, harmony, and soul connection, was distorted and buried by the dark forces. We learned how the values of high vibrational living once naturally existed in everyday Japanese life, and how they were slowly suppressed through psychological warfare. And we discovered that this isn't just Japan's story. It may be the same pattern that unfolded in many parts of the world. More importantly, we began to remember the truth that still lives within our soul. That truth is not just a memory. It is a frequency. And now is the time to restore it through our actions, our intentions, and the way we live each day. Thank you for watching until the end. If this message touched your heart, please consider giving this video a like. By doing so, you're helping to spread the vision of Hakkō Ichiu. the ancient ideal of unity and harmony once held by Japan. To more people around the world, each like becomes a signal, letting others know that the light side is moving, that a new earth is awakening, and that the time for global resonance has come. Let us shine together and help awaken those who are still waiting to remember. Your support helps spread the light and brings this suppressed wisdom to those who are searching for truth. Let us walk the path of ascension together and create a new world, a world where no one is left behind, a world united in light and harmony. Until next time, stay centered in love and truth. Lastly, I pray you're full of harmony and happiness in your life always, and appreciate for your helping others' ascension.